this is my number.
We can make that work.
Anywhere you go, give it on. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be going over the latest EU5 news, namely Tinto Maps number 4, Tinto Talks number 15, Tinto Maps number 5, Tinto Talks number 16, and Tinto Maps number 6. And most importantly, I'm going to be talking about the first EU5 feature that I'm really not a fan of. Let's jump in. Alright, welcome to today's video. I just told you what we're gonna take a look at, and because there's so much content to go through today, I'm just sort of gonna blaze through these Tinto maps, Dev Diaries right here, because really most of it is just, looking at the maps and sort of learning and piecing together these regions that Paradox is showing us one by one. But Tinto Maps number 4 right here basically revealed to us the sort of greater Poland slash Ruthenia slash Baltic region right here. And this is what it's looking like, man. Now, obviously, we had a little, screenshot of this earlier, far off and stuff like that. But to actually see it, materialized like this is very nice. We got Poland right here. All of these guys are their subjects. We got the Teutonic Order and various other, Teuton guys over there, the Livonian Order and various other Livonian Order guys over there, Lithuania, a bunch of their subjects. You can tell by, because they're the same color as them. Then we got Galicia, Volhynia right here and some other minor nations up here. Denmark possesses land up here, and this is obviously the Golden Horde right here. Now, interestingly enough, man, this was a thing in EU4 a couple of patches, but at the start of EU5, and maybe this could be changed, as we can see these guys, Poland, Lithuania, start off in a war. So it's Poland, their boys, Lithuania, their boys. We can see actually here confirmed that Galicia, Volhynia is not a subject of anyone, fighting a war versus the Teutons and their guys, the Livonians and the other Livonian guys, and Bohemia and all of their guys right here. So I think this is gonna be a pretty difficult start for all of these guys right here, even the big guys, of course, right when EU5 releases, right, by the time we get to grasp how everything works. But after that, once all of us figure it out, I think it should be a very, very interesting start as any of these guys. You know what I'm most excited for here is some sort of challenges focusing on breaking free from some of your overlords right here while this war is going on. I think that could be pretty amusing. But yeah, just the location map mode right here, the province map mode right here. Of course, drop some suggestions for naming and stuff like that on the forums if you have knowledge on this region and whatnot. This is the terrain and climate and the topography and stuff like that, looking very nice. We got the cultures right here, as we can see, quite a mix of cultures right here. Some German, some Western Baltic guys. That is what the description says right here. And yeah, everything right here is looking pretty nice. Going over to the religion map mode, this is probably the most interesting part for me. The remover religion is present, as we all know, in EU5, sort of the official religion of Lithuania at this point. So you could definitely go lots of different ways with Lithuania here. I feel like you can maybe stay Romuva, go Catholic, maybe even go Orthodox. It's right here. We even got some animist guys over here. So this is probably the most interesting map for me personally out of all the map modes that have been showcased here for this region, along with this war map mode right here. Then we got the goods right here. Amber should be a pretty valuable trade good in EU5, and we got a bunch of gold locations right here in Slovakia that Hungary possesses right at the start. And of course, the pops. And please change this, man. I already said it a couple of times, but just a little line right there. Yeah, to sort of split these off would be very nice, along with the markets or, trade regions, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, we just blazed through this map real quick, man, because we got a lot to cover. And with that, we can actually jump into Tinto Talks 15 right here. Take a look at this little dynastic image that has been shown to us, even though the quality is not that great. But yeah, it's looking very nice, man. We got the Anjou Naples house right here in Provence and Naples in Hungary. The Piasts rule a bunch of nations over here, so maybe some PU potential on Galicia, Volhynia right here from Poland. Yeah, man. Yeah, dynastic map mode looking pretty nice. That's all I can say right there. Not a lot to take a look at right here. The Expert Scholar. Is that perm? What's up with that? I'm sure there's a very nice explanation. But yeah, let's jump into this Tinto Talks right here, where I'm going to reveal the first EU5 feature that I'm actually not that much of a fan of. All right, welcome to Tinto Talks 15, where we ask for feedback on our extremely crazy top secret game, which has the codename Project Caesar. One thing that many have asked for has been a more in-depth dynastical gameplay, so here it is. Yes, I like that. Characters. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I'm going to get into it. Why? Let's just do a little bit of reading first. Before we delve into the dynamics of dynastic gameplay, we must first talk about their building blocks, the characters. Here's a European king with an early 18th century background. While not copying the Crusader King's mechanics, a character in Project Caesar is a bit more alive than, let's say, in EU4. A character is born, lives, and eventually dies. Every character has admin, diplo, and mill attributes. Wait, that sounds familiar. Just kidding. Ranging from 0 to 100. Of course, these attributes will not add any sort of mana, but they will impact how well the character will perform certain roles. This is awesome. This is something I do agree with, even though I am a mana lover myself. One example is that the diplomatic ability of the admiral impacts the morale of the navy he leads. So very cool right there. Newborn characters start with 0, but that grows until they're adults, depending on what childhood trait they have. You can also assign your ruler's children and grandchildren a specific education during that childhood. So this is very nice, and this is something that has been requested for a very long time. Basically, a lot of the players, wish to have some sort of impact or influence on the way that heirs develop, right? You got a starting ruler, and let's compare this to EU5, right? Let's say your starting guy is a 1, 2, 1, and you can't do anything about it. Sure, you can disinherit him and try to, make him die and stuff like that, but that's really the hands you've been dealt. But then you get a 0, 0, 0 heir, right? And it's just one heir. It's pretty simple. Then you gotta disinherit him, blah, 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 hope that he dies, put him in charge of an army or whatnot just to get rid of him somehow. Whereas I feel like in EU5, man, this, influence that we're gonna have, sure, they all start as 0, but depending on events, I guess, and decisions we take, and maybe some policies and, impacting their education, we can try to get them to be the best that they can be, probably until they start ruling. Hopefully, there's ways to, increase that a little bit, and actually, I hope there's ways to decrease that a little bit as well. Lobotomies existed, I guess, during at this point. What if someone got a lobotomy? Maybe he was 80, 80, 80 with his stats. Boom, lobotomy. Now he's 20, 20, 20. What's up with that? I think that would be pretty fun as well. But yeah, I'm super excited that we are able to influence heirs, and hopefully it's just more than one heir. Maybe, you're a king. You got 3 sons. Okay, your first son is a dumbass. Go make him own some castle somewhere. Second son, he's the heir or something like that. I hope we can do that. Not to the scale of Crusader Kings 3. Obviously super, super simplified, but just a little thing here and there. So yeah, this is a trait that when the heir of the player, it increases the chance of hunting accidents by 200%. Very nice. Characters ruling a country will gain up to 3 traits depending on how long they have ruled. So pretty much similar to EU4. They're gained while ruling a country. Characters that are generals or admirals will also get traits after combat. There are also unique traits for characters that are redacted or other secret thing. Characters also have a culture they come from, a religion they follow, they keep track of where they were born, where they're currently living, they belong to an estate, which for the most characters tends to be the noble estate. Obviously, if you're not, a republic or something like that, maybe you can be a burgher as well, or peasant republics, a peasant is the ruler or whatever. Many characters will have a father and or mother as well. For some historical characters at the start of the game, that will not necessarily be true. The number of spouse is a character can have depends on religions and laws, but the number of children they get depends more on the fertility of their parents. So yeah, there we go. What I just mentioned we were reading up here. So what can you do with characters? Well, this is not Crusader Kings, thank God. So the characters themselves are not as important, and there are no specific events like an Imperator either. In this game, characters are tools to be used for the greater good. If that means marrying off your daughter to secure an alliance with France, then that's what you'll have to do. Obviously, you can arrange marriages in your country, send less useful characters into converts, yes, and noble great people, awesome, and much, much more. So all of this right here, man, sounds super, super dope. Huge fan, huge fan. Once again, this is an African ruler in his throne room, which, while beautiful, is just a background image. Speaking of marriages, royal marriages in Project Caesar are not just sending a diplomat. Here is far more limited, as you have to actually marry real characters, and often this is a vital action, so way more important than EU4. If you can't arrange a royal marriage with a country of enough prestige that has a young consort, you may be forced to marry a local noble instead, like the various events when we get in EU4 from your country, or worse, even a lowborn. Oh my god, that will be so sad. A royal marriage between two rulers will immediately form a union between those two countries. Interesting. Every country has its own inheritance laws, which if they differ may cause a union to break, as the rulers would be different. This is probably not the audience where I need to explain the difference between Salic law and semi-Salic law, right? Yes it is. I don't know what that is. I don't play EU4, or I'm not that big of a nerd to know what it means. But shout out to all my nerds. I love you guys. And here we have another picture of the Af Bialbo dynastic tree. Now this is the Hjalmar guys. Obviously we got the King Magnus right here. This is some other guy. I guess that's his brother, potentially. Like that's his dad, that's his brother or something like that. Then these guys are his sons. So King, that was the next guy. Then these are his brothers. They didn't do anything. Died as a 35-year-old. Both of them at the same time. Were these guys twins or something? Either way, since this guy, I guess, didn't have any kids and he was king, the title moved over to the second brother's first kid, who this is his wife. Pretty simple to explain. I think it's very clear cut right here, and I'm liking everything over here. I like the fact that it's more complex than EU4, but not as complex as obviously Crusader Kings 3. Dynasties are important as they impact diplomacy in direct and indirect ways, and some inheritance laws prefer their own dynasty, and having the same dynasty can improve opinions between countries. As almost all previous grand strategy games, the game will keep track of who has ruled that country before, just so you can go back and admire them. We have tried to get in as much history as possible here, even if my heathen content designers refuse to have Odin as the original king of Sweden. And this is like the stuff that you get in the ledger as well in EU4, but way better over here, obviously. All of the rulers of the Kingdom of England. So we got all of these guys right here, which I think are the Plantagenet guys. Then some random dude over here. Maybe this was like, what you call it, a regency. And then, you know, the dynasty continues, except there's 2 lions over here and 3 on this one. So I don't know what's up with that. And then we arrive to King Edward III, who is the ruler at the start. Or actually, no, Edward II is the ruler at the start because it starts in 1330. No. It starts in 1336. Yeah, then this guy's in charge. Of course, regal numbering and actual names depend on many different things. And that's pretty much it. Stay tuned. Next week we'll be back and we'll talk about how the cabinet will work. So let's just go over in detail some of the things right here, and let me get to the stuff that I like and don't like. All the mechanics right here that we've gone through, right? And how everything works, and like, for example, this right here, their skills and how they'll impact things they do in their own life, but not actually the country itself. I love the fact that newborn characters start with 0, and you can influence, hopefully, to a certain degree, how they progress in life, right? If someone starts, I don't know, let's say this is a stupid example because IQ is like, I don't know, but let's say someone starts off with 70 IQ, you can't make him 180, right? But, you know, a little bit push in certain directions is what I like a lot. You know, the traits are awesome right here. Obviously, this is all known. Regarding royal marriages and stuff like that, I really like. Dynasties, I really like. Royal marriages, you know, that is super more important than EU4. All of that I love. And this ruling history right here is great. So, very dope mechanics being introduced right here. What don't I like then? I hate 3D character models. I don't like them at all, man. I don't like them at all. And let's just get into the ones that were shown right here. Because look at this guy, man. Right? And let's actually compare him to this guy right here, because this guy looks so much better. Look at the details on his face, right? You can see the wrinkles, the texture on the clothes and everything right here. These feathers and whatnot, his jewelry and stuff. So this guy looks awesome. Even for a 3D character model, he looks so good that I think he's 2D. It's like art. This guy, brah, it's like you've asked for the cheapest, most dog poopy AI to generate a 3D image of, I don't know, he just looks like, I don't know, a GameStop employee that's put on some cosplay right here. I don't know. This guy looks so cheap, dude. That beard is horrible, bad texture on the clothes. You can see like what you call it, aliasing right here happening. It's just, I really don't like the way these things look, man. I think I don't think this is a good idea. I think they make the game look cheap. They make the game look like some sort of a mobile, you know, ad that pops up on Instagram while you're scrolling reels, right? And when you jump into the game, it doesn't actually look like that. So yeah, all the mechanics that have been announced in this one regarding characters, I love. I just don't love the appearance, man. And I knew this was going to be controversial as well before, but I just think it makes the game look really cheap, right? And with the way that characters will work in EU5, obviously it does make sense for you to be able to see them and, you know, sort of connect them to what their abilities are and stuff like that. And obviously with so many characters, right, you can't have like 2D images or art or anything like that, right? In EU4, the only people that we actually see are like advisors on advisor portraits. And how many advisor portraits are there? Like, I don't know, 50, right? So it's easy to make them because they're the only ones. But in EU4, where you have thousands of countries at the start of the game, and if you have all those rulers, that just thousands of ruler portraits, and then how are you going to do the portraits for the rulers after that, and then the advisors or the cabinet, and then the heirs and the previous rulers? So I get it why this is like it is. I just personally don't like it. But thankfully, you know, I've been moping too much. Let's be real here. It's just an aesthetic thing. It doesn't, you know, actually impact gameplay. It's not a mechanic. Hopefully, I'm praying we'll be able to turn these off because I really don't need to look at them. Maybe, you know, you'll be able to turn them off regarding performance. If not, hopefully there will be a mod that makes you turn them off. If not, I will pay someone to make a mod so that I don't have to look at these guys. I'm sure a lot of hard work went into making these guys. No disrespect to the devs or anything like that, man. These don't like objectively look bad. Well, at least not this one. This one, let's be real. But yeah, it's just an aesthetic thing for me, and my main gripe right here is that they look cheap and that they make the game look cheap. I know everyone is like hating on AI generated art or whatever, but honestly, man, I'd rather have AI generated 2D images of all of these guys rather than probably once again AI generated 3D images, right? They just don't look good enough to me to where they can be 3D. I got pretty high standards. If this doesn't look like Red Dead Redemption, honestly, I don't like it, right? But that's just me, and obviously my opinion is not objectively right. I'm probably in the minority with this, and yeah, luckily it's an aesthetic thing, man. Luckily it's an aesthetic thing. But yeah, all of the mechanics announced in this dev diary, dope. I just don't ever want to look at these guys again, which is too bad because we're gonna look at them here too. Either way, with all that said, let's move on to Tinto Maps 5 with one of my favorite regions in the game, Italy. All right, let's jump in now. Interesting comment right here right at the start. One comment before we start. We know you might be eager to discuss other religions that may appear partially on the development diary, such as the Balkans. We'll try to keep the conversation separated in different threads. Please, every region will get its own Tinto maps, and we'll show them and gather feedback in due time in their own development diary. But here is the region of Italy in all its glory, man, and it's looking super, super nice, man. One of my most played regions in EU4, definitely so many countries to play there, you know, that I do in my series. All of these guys have unique national ideas, a bunch of releasables as well, so I can definitely say I've played every country that's located in Italy. Wait, I don't know if I've played Corsica or Sardinia. I think I handed one of those off to Lathe, but yeah, looking super, super nice, man. Very nice colors right here. Pope, obviously smaller than what we're used to. Way more guys over here that I guess would get gobbled up by the Pope. Some of these guys right here also looking pretty nice. A bunch of minor guys over in the Piedmont region. And Venice doesn't appear to be an island. You know, you see this tiny little thing right here? But yeah, the province or the location of Venice, I think, is like this right here. Either way, looking super, super great. Moving back right here, the situation of Italy in 1337 is quite interesting. The main power in the peninsula is the Kingdom of Naples, ruled by King Robert I, who is also ruler of Provence. So Provence is like a junior partner of Naples, or Naples is a junior partner of Provence? I don't know. And a few minor countries in northern Italy. His efforts towards the domination of Italy also have made him leader of the Guelph faction in Italy, which backs the Pope. Speaking of him, the seat of the Curia is at Avignon, so it's right here. It's not in Rome. And regaining control over the Papal States and moving it back to Rome might take some time and effort. A very interesting scenario that I'm excited to see how it will play out in EU5. Opposed to all of them, there is the Ghibelline faction. I'm sorry, I don't know how those guys are pronounced, man. Led by the Signoria of Milan, ruled by the Visconti dynasty. They are backed by other important powers in the Italian region, such as the superb Republic of Genoa or the Duchy of Verona, ruled by the dynasty of Della Scala. There are also neutral powers like the republics of Venice or Siena, although they could be attracted to join one of the factions. We also have foreign powers that have already set a foothold in Italy, such as the Crown of Aragon, which has established a branch of his dynasty as kings of Sicily, while also recently conquering some lands in Sardinia. So yeah, the situation in Italy is super, super interesting right at the start, man. Here we can see, you know, the two factions. This situation is going to be an absolute mess. Super exciting to navigate through. I think it might be even more interesting maybe to meddle as someone from the outside or someone who actually isn't in one of the two factions right here. Maybe like someone like Siena or Venice, or someone that's near like Aragon, Austria, anyone in France, Hungary even right here. I think it would be very cool to get involved in this whole situation and even navigating it as a major power on either sides, or even more fun as a minor power on either side. So super, super interesting right there. This is Naples right here. It's Boy, all of the boys that are with Naples right here. Milan, which is obviously the leader of this other side, all of those other boys. So yeah, there are international organizations part of a situation. Two very intertwined brand new EU5 mechanics. We got the dynasty map mode, nothing to take a look at too much right here. Locations, everything is good right here. There's an interesting density in Italy, especially in the north. Yeah, man, there's like so many of these, dude. It's actually insane. Look at how tiny some of these are right here, and even Naples and the Pope too. Where there are plenty of communes, the Italian city-states. You might also notice something a bit different from previous Paradox games. Venice is not an island, but the location has lands around the lagoon. We aren't 100% sure that this will be the final design, as we have a few ideas to try to keep its special position on an island inside the lagoon while adjusting the issue of it being too small to appear on the map. In this regard, we're open to feedback and ideas about the topic. Yeah, for me personally, not too much of a concern. I trust these guys that they will make it good no matter in which way they do it. Province map mode right here, terrain map mode. Yeah, and all of the other climate and topography and stuff like that. We got the cultures right here, pretty familiar to us from U4. This maybe is one that isn't present right here, the Friulian culture, or maybe they're named differently, but yeah, pretty standard right here. Religion map mode, we got the Christiani religion over in Bosnia, which I think is the first thing that anyone looks at when shown this map, man. But yeah, I'm very excited to see the Balkan map mode as well. Yeah, it's all Catholic, nothing to take a look at right here. Well, all majority Catholic, the raw goods, the markets, Genoa, Venice, and Naples, obviously a brand new one right here. The pop map mode, and yeah, the pop provinces. So yeah, there's around 10.5 million population in the Italian region as of now. Taking into account how divided the political landscape is, Naples looks scary. Yeah, man. Naples looks like probably one of the main powers in EU5, in Europe at least. You know, even though they don't look that big on the map, I'm anticipating the Naples will be a superpower in EU5. We'll see. You know, we know how that turns out historically for them. Obviously, they don't do that. They become a junior partner under Aragon and so on. But yeah, I think they'll be pretty cool in EU5. And that's about everything from the Tinto maps number 5 right here, man, from the region of Italy. The next one will be the British Isles. Excellent, excellent. So I guess we'll be taking a look at that pretty soon right here. It's dropping in just a couple of hours for me, if you can see the time right there. Either way, moving on to Tinto Talks number 16 right here, where it's mostly going to focus on the cabinet, which is sort of the evolved version of the advisors from EU4. Very exciting. Let's take a look. Welcome to another Tinto Talks. You know, the happy Wednesday where we talk about the top secret and very much unannounced game we refer to as Project Caesar. Today we'll talk about another rather new or more or less unique system. The cabinet is one of the core functionalities in the game, covering areas which in previous games have been handled by envoys or mana, or may not have scaled nicely. The cabinet in Project Caesar is a core part of many aspects of the game. Last week we talked about characters and we inferred roles such as generals, admirals, rulers, and regents, all familiar characters to us from U4 obviously. We also mentioned 2 roles we were not ready to talk about as well. Being in a cabinet while being a good use of a character is not one of those roles. So you still have 2 other things to look forward to regarding characters. Interesting. All right. So here we have a screenshot of the government, I guess. We got King Edward III Plantagenet right here. He's 24 and a guy. So this is is that him? He looks the same. Yeah, these are his skills. So, you know, good, very good mill skill, I would say, and decent admin and diplo skills. These are his traits right here, which we still don't know. I guess this right here is his primary heir. And this, we have the estates right here, which we already know about. The parliament, which we also kind of know, but not really too much. And this is the cabinet right here. Then politics and values, I guess this is, you know, we'll have more to learn about that later. So yeah, these are his skills right here. This is how much control he's increasing in Cambridgeshire. And this is another guy who's pacifying Cornwall. Interesting. We don't know what pacifying them is. Increasing control, we already talked about that. This is how efficient the cabinet is. I hope there's, you know, obviously there are ways to increase that. Interesting. Let's continue reading. Can you trust Sir Robert? Yeah, his stats are pretty low, man. Honestly, I don't know. The size of your cabinet varies depending on several factors. The most important, though, is how advanced your country is. At the start of the game, most countries will have a cabinet size of 2, while every age will add at least 1. Some government reforms or laws may also grant a bigger cabinet size for some other drawbacks. So interesting. Yeah, way smaller than I thought at the start of the game, man. I thought there was going to be like 5 or 6 dudes in here, but I guess not. Who you pick for a cabinet matters as well, as each cabinet member from an estate gives plus 10% power to that estate. Interesting, accurate also, I would say. And it may not always be ideal to have a cabinet member of the wrong religion or bad culture, no matter how great they are. One example includes the fact that the Pope might be upset if you employ a heretic as a Catholic ruler. Yeah, definitely makes sense. There are currently 45 different actions that can be assigned to a cabinet position. Wow, that's so much. And more are added as the game develops. Some of these are always available, some require more advances, some are unique to only a few have access to. Each action belongs to one of 3 categories: admin, diplo, or military, which determines which attribute it's used for. Okay, so let me stop right there. Let's once again compare stuff to EU4. Let's say if these guys are advisors, which they're not really, but kinda, they can do either admin actions, you know, like in EU4, let's say increasing tax or whatnot, or unrest or missionary strength. Then you get the diplo actions, diplo rep, improve relations, and you get the mill actions, which are morale, discipline, manpower, and whatnot. So it'll be sort of similar-ish here. Now we can see that these are some of the actions that they can do. So they can counter espionage. They can develop a province. Development still present? Question mark. We still got improve relations and diplo rep. Finally, one advisor does both things. My 2 favorite diplo advisors. We got some migration. I guess this would be, well, I guess these are all like, yeah, these 2 are admin, these 2 are diplo. Interesting that espionage is now an admin. Expel people, allow peasants to migrate. Interesting. So maybe if you don't have someone in the cabinet doing that, maybe they're not allowed to leave, you know, because they're kind of serfs or whatever. Yeah, but it allows them to leave, but it also makes people not want to come. And yeah, it makes them migrate faster. And then the control increase guy, which one of them is active right there on that screenshot. So yeah, interesting actions right here. I think all of these are pretty clear, even though we may not exactly know what some modifiers do. The ones that we do are pretty clear, and the ones that we don't, I think we'll get a grasp on pretty easily. How efficient is a cabinet action then? The relevant attribute from the ruler and the cabinet member has a big impact, but your societal values, laws, reforms, and even some estate privileges can affect it, not to mention your crown power. Okay, so this is the effective skill of expelling pops from upland. So we can compare it to this right here. This is the cabinet efficiency. So 33 from King Magnus IV. I guess that is his mill skill of Magnus IV. Then because we're conciliatory right here, another percent royal marriage rights, I guess that's maybe a policy or something, because of crown power is decreasing. And 50 from Knut Av Aspenas right here, I guess that is the guy who's employed there, his mill skill. So pretty easy to understand right here. With a total increase of 30%, we gain the following effect: we allow peasants to migrate, migration attraction, pop migration speed. If you want people to leave Stockholm, winter is not enough. Interesting, man. Very interesting. Speaking of migration, next week we'll talk more in detail about how pops function when it comes to migration, growth, how they change, and what they need. So super, super exciting. I'm liking, once again, everything we've seen right here. Cool art too. All of the mechanics I think are really dope. I was sort of worried about this whole cabinet mechanic because I think, you know, it works decent in EU4, but then again in EU4 the system is the EU4 system. We don't have mana in EU5, so the advisors, you know, they don't bring in more points. I guess you can consider them without the points, but with the modifiers, which are these modifiers or the actions that they'll be able to do. Now, what I'm assuming here is that this guy right here, Sir Ralph, even though he's pacifying Cornwall now, because his Diplo and admin skill are higher than his mill skill, maybe he would be put to better use doing an admin or a Diplo action, because that would increase the efficiency or something like that. That's how I'm seeing it. So hopefully one guy can do everything, right? I think that's how it's gonna work. But yeah, once again, awesome mechanics. Once again, I do not like the 3D portraits like we just talked about. Makes the game look cheap to me, like a mobile game or whatever. But it is what it is. Come to think of it, man, I guess it's not really that much of a problem, because while I was reading through all of this and all the mechanics and the whole situation around the cabinet, I really didn't think about these guys once until we just went back to them now. So I think because it's really a visual thing, like I said so many times by now, I think it'll be easy to ignore or to turn off. So yeah, very exciting. I'm loving the stuff about the cabinet. I'm loving the stuff about how dynasties work and how the characters work. The only thing I really had to complain about here was the appearance, which really has been my biggest complaint with a lot of the newer Paradox titles. The way I see it, boys, and this is just getting completely off topic over here before we get into Tinto Map 6, which is not even out to me. The games before Crusader Kings 3, right? I consider like CK3 the first of the new batch, the first of the new era of of PDX games, and I think or maybe even Imperator. Shoot, which one came out first? I think it's CK. Either way, I don't really like the appearance of the new Paradox games. That's pretty much my only gripe with them. They're excellent games, all of them, but I just don't like the way they look too much. The way I see it, these older games, everything prior to that, I guess maybe even up to Stellaris, the way I see them, and I'm going to give you this comparison, is old Disney cartoons, right? Old Disney cartoons like Dumbo, Cinderella, I don't know, Sleeping Beauty and stuff like that. The way that animation is, right? The old 50s or 40s or 60s cartoons, they like always look good, man. But the way these newer Paradox games look to me, specifically regarding this, I'm not talking about anything about the UI or the map or anything like that. I'm just talking about some characters and maybe some UI elements here and there. The way I see them, man, is like the the cheap YouTube kids animation, right? Where it's like, I'll throw up some copyright-free stuff if I can find it. If not, I'll show in like a second of a clip or something. But yeah, really at the end of the day, it's just me complaining. Don't, take my words as gospel. Don't be like, yo, Red Hawk said characters are ugly, so that's why I don't like them. Form your own opinion, please. I'm just one guy at the end of the day, and I'm probably in the minority here. I've seen some other content creators do polls, and, the results I've noticed mostly on characters right here are like 40% I like them, I don't know, 40% I don't care, and then 20% I don't like them, right? So I'm definitely in the smallest faction right there. I know some of you guys love them. But yeah, it's really not a big deal at the end of the day. I just wanted to find something to complain about because everything regarding EU5 has been so cool and I'm so excited about. But yeah, that's about it for Tinto Talk 16. Now let's move on with Tinto Maps number 6. And here we are in Tinto Maps number 6, which is obviously, as we just saw, maps of the Ireland and Great Britain region, 2 separate regions, by the way, in EU5. And boys, I'm actually not gonna go through this dev diary at all, man, because it's really, really in depth here. I don't want this video to be like an hour and a half long, and actually Lathe just dropped a pretty good video, going over everything over here. So what I simply recommend you guys do is go check out Lathe's video on this dev diary right here, and that's it from me. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think about everything we went through today. What's your opinion on the character model specifically, but also on the mechanics that we just covered? And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like. It really helps out a lot. And if you like the content and want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of them. And you can become a member today and join the Discord. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU5 news video.